Hello everyone, my name is Raji Rivera. I'm 22 years of age, and in just a couple of weeks I'll be turning 23. I was born and raised in Delano, California, where I also went to school here. I went to Delano High School, graduated in 2008. And I come from a family of six. I have three brothers. My oldest brother's name is Guillermo Rivera, and then my two younger brothers are Randy and Naib Rivera. My parents are Guillermo and Carmen Rivera, very supportive parents. Couldn't ask for any more. My dad struggled while growing up. He worked in the fields with my grandmother very young, and once he had me, he was able to find a different job at a cold storage. Was almost as tough because of all the chemicals that were involved. He had to take certain shots in order to be safe from these chemicals. And he went to the Delano High School as well. He knew a little bit of English just to get around. But my mom, on the other hand, she didn't know nothing but English, only Spanish, and she was a stay-at-home mom. So my dad worked for us. He supported us as much as he could, and always looked for something better for us. So that's a role model I see. When I am going to school, I want something more too. I met a professor at BC, William Mitchell. I went to his office hours, and he took the time to break everything down for me, especially grammar and writing comprehension, and even reading. Some of the key points to succeed and learn. Because as I tutored at BC also, after taking these English classes, I was able to master what some of these components were, and able to teach the other people who came for tutoring. I eventually graduated from Bakersfield College with my AA in psychology, and I'm glad I went through these struggles as a young boy to even a college student, because I know if I wouldn't have struggled and come across these obstacles, I wouldn't have been the person I am now. So I'm glad I was able to overcome these obstacles and have my friends and family to help me overcome these things. And I'm just blessed and thankful for what happened, and for my parents who struggled as well, but they overcame, and that motivated me to overcome just as well. So, and it's just a little bit of me, and I'm Raji Rivera, and yeah, thank you. Hello everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Delano News. I'm Raji, and today we're going to talk about a special individual who became the first in his family to receive a 4-year degree. So we're going to look through the journey of the education of Tony Mendez.
Well, I got my degree from CSUB, and I would say there were a lot of challenges that presented themselves when I was going through high school. One of the ones was just the simple fact that I wasn't sure that college was for me. I realized that if I wanted to provide myself a better life and my future family a better life, I needed to go to school. So that was one of the huge issues, just getting comfortable with the fact that I wanted to go to school and I wanted to pursue a higher education. Also awareness. In my family, my parents talked about education, but as a whole, we weren't too aware of the process that you needed to go through to get to a university, to go to a college. So I had to take things as they came. It was learning by doing, really. My parents supported me in that, and thankfully I was able to get my degree and be the first in my whole entire family to become a professional.
While attending CSUB, or maybe even prior to CSUB, how did you overcome some of the obstacles that you went through while attending these schools in order to achieve that degree and now teach here at this school?
Well, there were, as I said, there were plenty of obstacles for me to get through on my way to Cal State Bakersfield. One of them was finances, but applying for scholarships, receiving grants, going through FAFSA really helped me achieve my dreams of going on and getting a college degree. While I was at CSUB, I also had a little boy, so that was very difficult to include everything in life and somehow balance everything was a challenge. I had to be a father, I had to work because the grants and the financial aid can only take you so far. But when I had my boy, it increased my drive and motivation. I wanted to be successful for them. My goal is to have them start at a higher place than where I started. My parents worked in the fields and they have a job that's very difficult, very challenging. And I would see their sacrifices because I got to go work in the fields with them. Every single summer I was out there putting in work, and that humbled me, and it put a lot of things in perspective for me. Well, I would say that support came from my parents. They supported me in every way that they could. Granted, they didn't know much about the university system, right? But whenever I needed help, they were there. When I needed transportation, they went out and they got me a car, and that was very important. Despite, being financially strapped or limited, they still went out and they did what they could to provide me with transportation. So my parents were a huge blessing, and they are a huge blessing. And as I was going through school, it was a journey that I kind of went through on my own, and I learned as I went. If I would have had friends or family that had walked that path before me, I think they would have been able to help me. So a lot of it was just making mistakes and learning in the process. I think perseverance is the key. No matter what it is that you're doing in life, you got to be willing to go above and beyond, willing to go further than anybody else. While at school, prioritize things. Make sure that you treat your academics seriously. It's a time of a lot of liberty and freedom for kids who never really experienced it before, and that could be a challenge in and of itself, like it was for me when I was going through school. But if you do that, you prioritize everything and understand that you are a student first, and then everything else comes after, then you will find yourself graduating with a degree in your hand. So that's basically what I had to do to get to where I am now, teaching here at Delano High School, where I myself was a student. I never saw myself here as a teacher, but God's put special things in your path, and you just gotta follow the path, and here I am.
This concludes the special edition of the Delano News with the interview of Mr. Tony Mendez. I'm Raji Rivera, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.